told all the parents to keep their asses in the stands.
Oh,
Yeah, so I said,
we'll have to talk to the middle school AD about that. Whoops.
All right, I'd like to call this regular school board meeting to order. Today is Wednesday, December 13th. It's 7:02. First order of business is the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Was this meeting properly notified?
Yes, it was. As a reminder, it's also been recorded.
Welcome to all of our visitors. Any public comment? No. Okay, moving on to the highlight on youth. Intro to education class, high school language arts teacher, Emily Timmers. Welcome. Thanks for coming tonight.
Thank you. Thank you guys for having me.
All right.
This,
Like,
oh, thank you.
it must be. Chad told me. There we go. Chad.
I don't know. Someone other than me. There we go.
There we go.
All right. All right. Thank you again for having me tonight. So I'm here tonight to talk to you about intro to education. It's a new class that we added at the high school this fall. It's a dual credit course for students aspiring to be an educator or just considering it as a possible career option. So it's dual credit and it's through Western Technical College in La Crosse. So just some general info about it. 3 credits for the course this fall. So they took that in my classroom with me. Just like the first class that they take in college if they're considering being a teacher. And then in the spring, they will also get 3 credits for a practicum placement, which will also be in our district, which is really cool. So the practicum placement, they'll be placed with, 4 of the students are placed with one of our elementary teachers, and then 4 of them are placed with one of our middle school teachers. So they'll go there daily for field observation and just work experience with students and exploring more about education. And then those credits will be transferable to either Western Technical College, they keep them there, or transfer them to a college that they choose to go to. So the obvious benefit is the head start on their classes if they were to become a teacher, and then saving time and money. I mean, 6 credits is enormous for them to go The content that we cover in the class are just the really basic tenets of education, just the very beginning of where they'd start if they took it in college as well. Things like the history of education, different philosophical approaches of teaching and learning, trends in education, current trends, things that maybe happened 100 or 200 years ago, kind of where we came from. Assessments, RTI, PBIS. They've made a whole bunch of different types of lesson plans. They've learned about learning styles and brain science. And we also did a pretty extensive unit on special education, where we had Jen Steidel, one of our veteran special education teachers, come in for several days and taught the class, and that was pretty impactful as well. So the whys behind the class, the obvious one, the most important one, is a huge opportunity for students to explore something new. And if they want to be teachers, really get rolling on their credits early. Huge financial and time impact for them, get them out in the field sooner, of course. Even more than that is just to grow the field of education. It's not a secret right now that there's a shortage of teachers and anyone willing to work in education. So if we can get them rolling on it sooner, even get them excited about the potential of working in education, it's a benefit to all of us, but especially to kids still coming through, to have those great educators coming in. And then the third one, possibly growing our own, our own farm system, kind of like the minor leagues early on. Hopefully bring them back to SCC. I can't think of anything cooler than if Lily was working alongside of me someday. That'd be super cool. Or some of these kids teaching my own children at SCC would be amazing. And then just for me, it's a huge bucket filler. I'll tell my students a lot of times, I'm a language arts teacher by trade, but I'd be happy as long as I was teaching anything. So being able to share that with students and getting them excited about working with kids is just a bucket filler. Some extra cool things that we've gotten to do besides just the content and getting into teaching. We went on a field trip to Stout where we experienced Teach Day that they put on for students to come and explore their educational programs really close to home. The special education unit that we did with Jen Seidel, and then that led into a partnership with Rachel Hanson's class and being able to do some really cool things with Special Olympics and making a partnership between the two of our classes so that those two groups of students could work together and have a mutual learning experience, specifically in special education. I just have some pictures from those experiences. This is from Teach Day, where I took these students to Stout. They got to do things like explore a variety of their different education programs there, spend time with students that are currently enrolled, and those students took them around campus and showed them some of the different classes that they could experience or what the dorms looked like, things like that. They then spent time making lesson plans together with current professors in those programs. And then they presented some of those ideas to the entire group. So both a student and a professional experience kind of all in one, which is cool. And then I would argue that this is probably all of our favorite things, Special Olympics, Unified Bowling. That was that partnership that I was talking about. So you can see some cool experience, some cool pictures from that experience of the two classes kind of melding together. And it's really fun to see like these goofy high school kids in your classroom really put on like a professional hat and the huge hearts that they have working with kids. And you can just picture them 5 years from now just being incredible educators if that's the route that they continue to go. And we continue that partnership working with Miss Hanson's class. And so we spend a day every once in a while in the adaptive phy ed class. And recently we played pickleball with them, which is obviously, I never stop smiling through these experiences. There's a lot of things to smile and laugh about and watch everybody's competitive spirits come out. And then badminton as well was fun. We have dodgeball coming up. That's very exciting on our list of things to do. And I have Lily Hanson with me tonight, and she's just going to share a little bit about her experience in the class.
All right, hello, I'm Lily Hanson. I'm a senior this year, and next year I'm going into music education at Eau Claire. I was here a couple weeks ago for a marching band, and then I talked about how in class I was able to help Mr. Conway and teach a little bit, but majority of those skills I did learn from this class throughout the semester. One of my favorite things about interesting classroom that we worked on was philosophies. Learning about like my own philosophy for teaching was really helpful, and I was able to talk about it with my mom and my sister who are also educators, and be able to talk to my other teachers about how their philosophies could line up with what I think and how I would like to teach in the classroom someday. But also being able to adapt each assignment that we did to my personal, what I would like to teach someday. With lesson plans and assessments, they need to be adapted a little bit to music education, since in class you're singing and then your assessments are majority of concert performances. Being able to adapt it in one way compared to general ed classes was really interesting for me and helped me a lot for preparing for the future. And getting a head start on those classes really helped me with that. And then for next semester with my practicum, I'm really excited to be working with Miss Didez at the elementary music level with her 3rd, 4th, and 2nd graders, and being able to help kids and just see at the early level what the important skills are for kids to progress in music in the future and help them with the foundational skills of music. And I'm currently working on our final project of the semester, which is where we do choice, a whole like choice project where we do research and then a presentation on what we want to do, and I'm doing the importance of music education in a child's development of their brain at an early level, and how important it is to keep it into schools today. So I'm really excited to be working on that right now and working with another teacher next semester and just getting a head start on how it will be like in college and future. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, does it, the classes, does it focus on like teaching younger kids or high school kids, or is it a good mix of both that they're learning about?
It's been very general, and so then we try to make their assignments specific to what they want to go into. So like really focuses on high school music. The majority of the students in my class are interested in middle school and elementary school, so when they do an assignment, they focus in the content and the grade level specific to what they're interested in.
When you were here, I told Conway I like this logo,
Mm-hmm.
so tell Conway I wore a shirt today. He
Okay.
hooked me up with a shirt, so
I'll tell them tomorrow.
Any other questions? Thank you guys
No,
for
thank
having
you.
me.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Right, we'll move on to number 7, comments by board members and superintendent. We have the referendum update.
Yeah, not a ton to update you on since Eric Kivisto was here last time. The winter months are focused on the 2 big editions, the CTE editions of business and ag, and then the metals and woods and autos and mechatronics, et cetera, editions. So you're not going to see a lot unless you set up a tour and get your vest and hard hat and go in, which you're more than welcome to anytime. Stop by the job trailer and Ryan can hook you up. But yeah, we did a tour last week, a week ago. Yeah, a lot of progress stuff really being made inside. Mostly, right, the mason stuff continues to go up, brick walls, lots of steel studs, setting door frames, plumbing, electrical, of course, and HVAC are gonna, throughout these winter months, that's the real focus.
Yeah.
But the envelope is watertight, right? So that's good, and using the natural gas for the temporary heat, keep it, I think, 60 degrees in there, he said. But they're very good. Like, I'm really impressed, especially get to see the carpentry and the masons, and it's very, very obvious they take a lot of pride in their work. You think about every seam between every block and brick in that building, and I thought, I was kind of visualizing, like, they do this every day, all day. They must get bored with it, but they don't. They take a lot of pride in it. They know this is their work, and most of it is going to be exposed. And yeah, challenge you to walk around and look at any one of those bricks they put up, and it's perfect.
The door frames.
Yeah, how they set the door frames was interesting. It's not like your typical, wood studs and sheetrock, and then you put the door frame in. They put the door frame and set that and get that level, and then they build the brick walls, the block walls around that. Like, yeah, that makes sense. That was just interesting how they plumb that and get that all ready. And it's a science, like the progression and what comes first, second, third, and fourth. So doing a great job. Still obviously under budget and very few hiccups, and some issues are just unforeseen, but they're minimal. We've been fortunate. So those are the focus. They want to have them done by June, so that it's in the summer, moving in, getting equipment, getting the finishing touches. We kind of learned for the virtual edition. There's always a few little things with furniture and stuff. So we actually had a furniture meeting today to avoid some of those hiccups, exactly where outlets go with this piece of furniture. Instead of just trusting that the furniture company did that, right, we're double checking and triple checking. So Wold and Mark and Johnson, principals, and Chad had a very productive day with the teachers, looking at it again too. And then this summer, the existing remodel stuff will be the focus there. They'll have a short turnaround time with converting the current face room into a staff lounge, the current woods area into the new culinary arts. So there'll be a quick turnaround with the remodel stuff. But right now, we're just focused on those 2 additions. Any questions?
Thanks. All right, spring election. Kelly, do you have any updates or when does the paperwork have to be turned in? I think you texted us.
next Friday by 5 p.m. So Erica's all ready, and then
So there's, you see the declaration of candidacy or declaration of.
Isn't it
yours supposed to be turned in?
yeah,
They're both,
Yours?
deadline's the
Both.
same for both.
Jeff?
Yeah.
Godfather told him to get it in.
It's not even a real deadline. Actually, you have to.
Yeah, it's me, Erica.
It's like the kids, we tell them an early deadline.
yeah, and other people from the outside who want to run their deadline is January 2nd at 5 p.m. So if we have 7 or more candidates, we'll have to have a primary, which is on February 20th. And then the actual election is on April 2nd. Yeah,
Okay.
so
Thanks, Kelly.
Get your paperwork in.
Okay, so next order of business, or what we should talk about is the June board meeting date. It's June 19th, but we were thinking to move it to June 17th because you're.
Yes, so our annual administrator retreat is called SAIL, School Administrators Institute for Leadership, that we do every summer. That's the week that works for us, the 18th through the 20th. Unfortunately, the board meeting's on the 19th. So just asking if it's, 6 months out, if you consider moving that.
To a Monday?
Monday, the 17th.
Well, Mondays work better for me anyways.
I went to Wednesdays because of kids' school activities. Obviously, there shouldn't be any activities.
Because you guys are gone. When you say a retreat, they're gone. Like
Yeah,
you're out
West
west north. Or
You're retreating
they're
away from the
retreating.
public.
Mhm. Focus on themselves.
Works good.
So,
Shane's birthday.
okay, so
That's good for you.
if we can just, we don't need a motion to move it, we can just move it.
Correct, yeah,
Okay.
it's not,
So it sounds like the majority.
It has to be
make it.
posted a month ahead of time.
correct.
Callie, can you change the current invite to move it to Monday?
yeah, I'll change it right now.
Good.
All right,
Thank you.
thanks. Okay, moving on to the next order of business.
So Trudy Achterhoff donated $1,000 to be used towards the unpaid balances for the school lunch programs. And just wanted to recognize her for that. So thank you, Trudy, for donating $1,000 for students and unpaid lunch balances.
Thanks. All right, any scheduled presentations by guests or staff members? Okay, then we'll move on to the financial reports. Vince?
All right, bank account balance as of November 30th, 2023. Assistant State Bank checking $1,587,575.10. Citizen State Bank Money Market, $1,086,834.21. Fund 46, $55.91. Suicide prevention, $4,801.41. Fund 39, $163,133.75. Fund 49A, $7,835,068.15. Fund 11 for debt management on the referendum, $3,622,956.03. American Deposit, Fund 12, $147,664.14 for a total fund balance of $14,448,088.70.
Motion to approve. Second.
Any discussion? So the motion went by Dave, second. Derek, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next is the consideration of consent agenda. We have got 3 part-time and 0 full-time curricular modifications, along with the athletic co-op agreement for girls and boys hockey with Baldwin Woodville schools.
And Brian's here if you have any questions on the co-op.
I guess just in general, how does that work?
Yeah, so for boys, we co-op with Baldwin Woodville only. And then with girls, we're part of River Falls and Baldwin's co-op. And because there's an ice rink in River Falls and Baldwin, they kind of work through the practice schedule. So we're kind of a silent partner. But like our numbers this year, so this year for our girls, we've got 8 athletes that are participating, and for our boys, we've got 11. And that's pretty standard. Boys have gone up in the last few years from when I got here. And so yeah, just coordinating with those AGs. The girls are in the Big Rivers Conference, and then boys play our middle border, which is kind of tricky because not all the schools have one. And so WI just approved Ashland joining our conference, and Schooner is looking into joining our conference. And then, I don't know if you're interested in the financials at all, but we then split the costs. And so basically with our girls, it comes down to about $1,000 per athlete, and then our boys come down to about $800 per athlete. And that goes into transportation, coaching, event fees, conference dues, officials, game workers, things like that.
Is that just split based on the number of athletes each
Yeah.
school
Yeah.
provides to the team?
Yes.
Or, okay.
And then registration fees go to the schools that host. So our boys pay registration fees to Baldwin, and they have a separate set of fees to use the rink and use the ice, and our girls' fees go to River Falls.
Motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Vince made the motion, Dave second. Any more discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Moving on to administrative reports. We have student enrollment updates.
Thanks, Brian.
Thank you.
Overall number of students and seats from 4K through 12, including early childhood, 1,603, remains the same as last month. Then I want to point out our virtual charter school, the bottom right-hand corner, continues to trend very positively. We're up to 274 as the time of publication for that. We threw in a 33 resident virtual full-time students and 85 resident virtual part-time students. We're just about to 400 already with our virtual school. That's great. And then our obviously open enrollment trend, 289 difference continues to trend positively as well.
Thank you.
Is that kind of a natural the last few years that the virtual school enrollment will kind of go up throughout the school year and then reset?
definitely.
And,
Yeah. Yeah. And a lot of these are seniors. So
Yeah.
we have typically about 75 graduate and go back down and start over.
I guess I should have asked this when Paul was here, but is anything going to change next year? If you're enrolled in our virtual school and you live in Baldwin, you can't, you'd have to be physically in a seat to be part of athletics in St. Croix Central, right?
No, you don't. You can participate as a virtual student,
You can.
but you have to be a resident virtual student.
Got it.
Yeah, one of these 33 or 85.
Okay.
So you have to be within our district boundaries.
Correct.
We just had a kid move in from Somerset. He's doing virtual now. Just had some hardships at that school and wanted to come here. And now his dad's looking for places in our district, but
Mhm.
he'll be enrolled. He's already enrolled virtually. So
Okay.
All right, moving on to the key performance indicator report.
So, folks at home, see that.
Ooh, look at that.
Whoops.
Ooh, that's cool.
The major. Conference championship in game.
All right. Can't see you now. Jeff, can you see that?
I
Okay.
can.
Okay, perfect. So this is our key performance indicators, something that the admin team has been thinking about and trying to initiate for almost 3 years now. We just kind of struggled to find things that were district-wide, et cetera. And I don't know why, but then just this last attempt, it clicked, and we actually came up with 10 initially and whittled it down to these 6. So key performance indicators, again, the nexus of this whole thing was rather than these annual report cards, which are more of an autopsy, it's after the fact. We wanted something a little more real time. They're not all they're real time. There's some are still annual, but more that reflected our culture and our values. And we'll talk about strategic plan later, but these 2 projects were done independently of each other, but there's a lot of crossover and similar themes, which makes sense completely. But the one was the strategic plan committee, the other was the admin team that started with key performance indicators. So we came up with these 6. Much thanks to Stacy for coming up with these graphics to make it visually appealing. So I'll just kind of go through the 6 that we settled on, and we were intentional with putting what we thought was most important near the top, and they're all important, but students first, right? Student connectedness and parent satisfaction. There are key customers, as Jeff is fond of saying, who are our key customers. Our parents, they're the ones that make the decisions where the kids go to school. So student connectedness in this also, whoops, I didn't hand this out. The folks on the strategic plan committee should have them. There's one extra one there. So on the back side explains what student connectedness means, but I'll elaborate a little more. So student connectedness is done by a student's climate survey, which has been done annual or semi-annually, fall and spring, for a number of years in every school. And among the many questions, the most important one that we take for this one is students who indicate a connection with at least one adult in their building per the student climate survey. So really important that, research shows, right, student success, that there's at least one adult in their life. And so we control what we can control, and that's our staff at school, making a connection, at least a meaningful relationship with at least one student. So every student has one. We do that through the survey, and insider secret, right? When students answer they don't, we have an intentional action plan for that. It's just not known to the students, right? To be intentional with forming a relationship. So with that said, our numbers are really good, but you can see them there. The number of students that they answered, they have at least one connection with one adult. So it's a starting point, right? With our key performance indicators, this is going to be longitudinal data that we track every year. Top right, parent satisfaction. This was a recent parent survey that went out. We asked a number of questions, but the one that we use for key performance indicator is net promoter score, right? Net promoter is specifically the question that is asked is on a scale of 0 to 10, how likely are you to recommend SCC schools to a friend or colleague? And then we calculate that by subtracting the percentage of parents who answer the survey with a 6 or lower from percentage of parents who answer with a 9 or 10. And again, key performance indicator, that's the equation they use. 7s and 8s are neutral, right? So that's where we come up with the numbers then.
So we don't have our numbers on our sheet.
Yeah, printed the most recent one is not printed. This is the one right here. So, let's see. So yeah, there's our percentage of net promoter score. Obviously the virtual school, outstanding. And Jeff, you might have some perspective, but they say I think anything above 40 is really good. Is that correct? Jeff's on mute. Jeff's on mute. So, can you hear me, Jeff?
Yeah, I was sorry, I was on mute. Yeah, because this survey is used by literally millions of companies. So it's kind of like the Q12 when we found out, world class, only 65% of our staff was engaged. So I'm not sure it's healthy to just say, yeah, we're above average. We should strive to be better.
Correct. So with all these. Student involvement, the next one. This I think is kind of self-explanatory, but percentage of students who are involved in at least one school-sponsored extracurricular activity. We don't have elementary on there because frankly, there just aren't that many extracurricular opportunities other than basically student council and crossing guard. And there even, there's fewer middle school than there are high school, but enough that we thought we should track that. So again, first blush appears pretty darn good, but one of the things we've always promoted and we, places a high priority is there's something for every student to be involved in extra, right? Other than just attending school and going to class. There's lots of opportunities and we all know the advantage of students being involved in those extracurricular activities. So again, this is where we're starting at and we'll measure that and we'll most importantly come up with action plans on increase that. Staff engagement, familiar with Q12. Frank, we actually are right in the middle of our annual Q12. We have 8 more surveys to go to get to 215. It closes next week. So we'll have those scores for this current year next week. But we're using this annually, so that won't show up until this next KPI. We put November 2023 on there also as a side note, because that's when we just finished the parent satisfaction survey. We tend to publish this and measure it every June. All these things will be in. The last things we wait for are the state tests with student growth and achievement. But we're starting now with what we have. And then lastly, like I just mentioned, growth and achievement, both really important. And those are based on our standardized tests. So, and again, they're described there. Low growth, first 34th percentile, typical is 35th to 65th percentile, high growth 66 to 99. And then student achievement is a percentage of students who score proficient or advanced on required state assessments. Like Dee explained last year, that's the achievement part. For the achievement, we have the growth score. That's from the state test. So those are 6 KPIs we measure. And again, the magic always is in the plan, how we plan to improve them. Any questions on our KPI document?
This is
really
the first
good.
time you've done this, right? I mean, like you put it all together and it makes it
Correct. Like I mentioned, we've done student connectedness, we've done staff engagement, we've done the growth and achievement. New. Actually, we did do some student involvement. I remember Mr. Cooley, the high school athletic director, had some numbers for that in years past. But we've never done that specific parent satisfaction survey with Net Promoter Score. That's new. Otherwise, yeah, putting it all together. This is our kind of local school report card. That's what we view it as.
Cool. So we'll do this every year.
Yep. June we'll have the next one in June every year annually. Yep. And we'll have the longitudinal data and then we'll speak about how we've improved it or it went down and what our plan is to.
Perfect.
Yeah, I guess this is just basically baseline this year, right? Like,
Yeah.
So then,
Right.
I imagine you're already planning around some of the lower spots to
Correct.
see what dive into that or whatever a little bit.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
So now we go on to the key work of our school board. We don't have recognition this month, but we will go on to the notice to board of automatic rollover provision of the administrator contracts for 24-25.
Annual December meeting notice is just to remind the board that if choose not to roll over any administrator contracts for 24-25, that they need to be notified in writing by the school board by the end of January. So, and, obviously it's based on my recommendations. So my recommendation in, open or closed session in January. Well, I can tell you right now, my recommendation is to roll everybody's contract over unless something egregious would happen in this next month. I don't anticipate that. Got an amazing team.
All right, do you want to go on?
I took all the suspense.
12C?
Yeah, so that's included in your packet. This is something that's required for us to get the federal ESSER funds, is to have a update on our COVID mitigation plan, which started back in 2022. We had to have that, and so every 6 months. So we did it in June, and this is the updated plan for December. We'll have to do it one more time next June, and then that will be it, because our funds we have to have spent by August of next year.
September 30th.
September. Okay.
Yep, 24. So one more time.
So yeah, and if you ask what changes did I make, I can't remember. I took out a few words like wear masks regardless of vaccination status. Or I'm sorry, masks are optional regardless of vaccination status. Change it to masks are optional. Did not change much from the last one. I think instead of saying hand sanitizer will be readily available, I said hand sanitizer is available. Just a few, not much changed.
All right, well done.
Box checked.
Back to 2019, thank you.
6 months to find.
Flatten that.
So, the board does have to vote to.
Oh, we do.
Yeah.
Okay,
Motion to approve
Second,
the COVID mitigation.
so
The COVID-
Vince and made
Do
the
I have to
motion
say
and
what it
Derek
is? No.
second. Any discussion? All in favor?
aye.
Bye.
Opposed? All right, motion carried.
Yeah.
All right.
Can't vote in closed session.
Yeah. Moving on to the core agenda items, there are three things that we need to vote on at the beginning, A and C.
Don't have to vote on them.
We don't.
They're not approved until next month.
Gotcha,
You know, we usually do December, like heads up, hey, if there's,
okay.
you know, this is what the administration developed. If you have any input or objections, we want to know, so then we consider it.
There's no big changes, right?
No, it's almost identical to this year. And then Kelly does a nice job of kind of summarizing, comparing this year to last year. There's a few changes with the number of teacher PD days and what are all staff PD days, but
Graduation.
oh yeah, graduation is a big change. It'll be, it's not a big deal. It's a week later.
This is different.
But the feedback from
No Memorial Day.
high school administration is like Memorial Day weekend has its advantages, but overall, overall consensus and majority say, if you can stay away from Memorial Day weekend, it might be best for families and staff, etc. Like I told Erica, the juniors this year are gonna, they think it's a
Oh,
big
and
deal.
it's
They
gonna
have to
be
go to
grumpy.
school 5 more days. But I say, hey, you can be part of the trivia question, maybe. You get to go to school for 5 more days.
There you go.
There you go.
They'll regret that later.
I haven't told Owen that. Well, it's not
hopefully he's not
approved yet,
watching it.
so
At that point, they're not.
spring break was around the same right after daylight savings time, right?
A week off for Thanksgiving again. That's been well received. Well, Christmas break, just the way lands Christmas next year is 12 days instead of 10, but we still get to get out the Friday, the last first week in June. So it's starting the same time and ending the same time. Because otherwise it just got too funky with trying to go to school on maybe December 23rd or 24th.
Oh, not the 24.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So overall, it's a 12-day counting the 2 weekends break. But, don't get a lot of kickback from vacations.
Is next year is
Yeah, trimester. Yeah, next year, correct. One thing it does impact the way June falls is summer school will be 3 weeks instead of 4. So it'll be 3 5-day weeks instead of 4 4-day weeks. goes from 16 days to 15. You can see that in the summer school calendars and the 4K calendars, which they're on here separately. I guess there's really nothing prohibiting you from approving it now, if you want to consider it.
Is it under approval?
It's under consideration, so consideration means it could be voted on, not discussion.
But it's kind of a moot point. It's just going to be approved next month.
Yeah, and there's some staff members like that have to turn in their vacation day, like for the whole a year in advance or something. And like Mr. Conway asked, because they typically do it's their Florida band and choir trip. So he was like, when's spring break? So we can start planning that. So I gave him this day.
Is anybody going to object to this next month? No. Okay.
No,
No, it's.
Yeah.
You think you should do it?
Yep.
Okay. So the next slate goes A, B, and C. Okay.
But we wanted to wait on the summer school one, right?
Yeah, and the reason was, Kelly, remind me,
Jackie hadn't heard back from the guy from.
we have for
Allison.
swim lessons.
Yeah,
I think Mr. Conway can feel confident scheduling this.
I mean, we could approve A and B. We're good with 4K and the regulars calendar. If we want to wait on summer school, we can do
so. I
that.
think
It's
she
a good
wanted us
idea.
to wait, yeah.
You guys all right with that?
Let's move to approve core agenda items A and B.
Second.
Right, so Lance made the motion, Derek second. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We've got the second readings D through M.
I'll move to approve core agenda items D through M.
Second.
Lance made the motion, Vince second. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? All right. And then we've got consideration, if you don't vote on N through W for the first readings. And then we need to have a vote for consideration of approval of eliminating the board policies.
I will move to approve core agenda item X.
All right.
Second.
So Lance made the motion, Vince second. Any discussion? All in favor?
I,
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. So we move on to 14, possible future agenda items. Any?
Just the development,
The date of it?
18th, right? Or I can't remember.
Yes, the 18th, I think is what the text, does that,
Of February.
yeah,
It's not super close.
no, check that.
Okay.
That's the 11th.
February 18th.
We were going to be the 4th, that didn't work, so then that's why we're down to the 18th Sunday. I guess,
Lance can make it all the way back from Brainerd.
Bemidji.
Or Bemidji today.
It's a long ways.
and it would be,
Is it like
it is
5
at
hours?
5 o'clock,
5
right?
hours,
Yeah.
something like
About
so what date are we talking about?
That's board
Sunday.
development,
In
currently
February.
board development date, February 18th, Sunday the 18th.
out there.
And that was at 5 PM, because there was a little discussion if it was at 6 or 5.
5 p.m.
5 to 9.
Oh, that's the discussion. Yeah, that's fine for me. If Callie can just change the invite from the 4th to the 18th, that'd be great.
Does that work for everybody?
I don't think everybody responded.
No.
Just finding out.
Josh?
Or possible, sure, items.
Yeah. Yeah. Any other?
I think there's a possible future agenda item, let's talk about this, local property taxes being December, Jen. Might be a good opportunity to talk about that as a possible future agenda item. Right, because we don't have it's timely and relevant. The board's okay just a quick, because the board might be asked, like, why my taxes go up, right? It's, you know,
We're gonna do a frequently asked question type thing. Send it out.
we have it on our webpage, property tax information. It's been updated for this year. It doesn't tell the whole story. Is it, you know, one municipality that contacted Jen and I just said, hey, we might get questions, you know, notice that the assessment went up for a lot of people. So I just, you know, typically is a December thing. So taxes usually go up. And one misnomer is that, you know, we were told that our taxes wouldn't go up because of the referendum. And that's not accurate, right? We can't guarantee taxes won't go up because we only can control the mill rate and the amount that we levy for existing and future debt. And we said that that's going to stay the same. Remember that bar graph? That amount has stayed the same because of the way we pay back our debt in different chunks to keep that still. However, most are aware a lot of municipalities, the assessments went up. So that's part of it, although it got divided equally, so that doesn't count for everything. But just we were looking at specifically, you know, our budget again, a little closer look, and just so the legislature on our revenue limit worksheet approved $325 per pupil, right? So we could our revenues went up, our budget would go up because the state allowed that. Times 1,626 students was 500 and some.
30,000.
Yeah, right there. So our levy did go up. I'll let you know, you have the numbers for you, Jen.
Yeah,
This is all
so
to
that,
consider.
so the
Agenda.
levy, if you go back to 22-23, was about 9.7 million. That was levied onto the local taxpayers. For 23-24, that number is 11.3 million. So part of that was the $325 per student increase. That was about $530,000 of it. Another almost $600,000 of it was general aid. So in 22-23, we actually received more general aid from the state than we are receiving this year in 23-24. That could be in conjunction to our equalized values increasing because now we're more of a property rich area instead of property poor, and that affects how much state aid you receive.
What is,
So,
sorry, finish.
no, go ahead.
I was gonna say, what's the difference between what was levied per student and the general aid that you just, are those two different funds that come from the state?
So the revenue limit is comprised of the general aid that comes directly from the state and basically the levy that's on the taxpayers. There are a few other smaller things that are equaled in there too, but those are the two big things. So when you're saying we had 600,000 last year that the state paid us instead of having to put that on our local taxpayers. So that went on there too this
So
year.
we added that 600,000 through the local taxpayers.
Right.
So it was budgeted in, we budgeted it, but then we didn't get it. Is that what you're saying? Because why else would we have to add it to the taxpayers?
Because it's part of the revenue limit. When we look at the revenue limit as a whole, it either it has to come from one pot or the other. So if it's not coming from the state, now it's going to come from the local taxpayers. So it automatically shifts over so that the local taxpayers are paying that because our entire revenue limit did not decrease, right? Even if it would have stayed the same this year, then that 600,000 would have shifted over because we didn't get it in state aid.
So then would we have had to pay it to the state?
You would have paid it to
No.
the state in some other tax somewhere.
Yeah. So whether it be, some kind of sales tax or
However they
income
fund that.
tax or other taxes that are going to the state level, and then they pay districts a certain amount.
Right.
Basically, the state
And it's all
money here.
equalized.
It's in Milwaukee.
So property tax bills are going out this week and I think
I
through
would
next
just-
week.
Share that stuff like on social or something.
Yeah. like mine, I have ours.
I mean,
Pleasant
the
Valley's got it
naysayers
all.
are gonna be the naysayers.
So the
Yeah.
school portion went up 8%. But my overall taxes went up 3.1%. I'm not gonna go get the white all breaks to tell. So
So for the last few years, we have posted this out on the web page. It's a little folder tab right up at the top on the main page, so they can see it very clearly. When they go in, they just click on property tax information, and then it pops up. And then when we go in there, if you scroll all the way down, then you can see that we have some information there that the Department of Revenue publishes for property tax owners that explains a little bit more about how the process works. There's more of underneath that, it's more of like a little cheat sheet that I found back from 2017 that kind of dumbs it down a little bit because it is a complicated, scenario. And then off on the opposite side under SCC information, then that's a lot of the stuff is what I've shared with you when we set the levy. So they have all that information out there. They can see what our mill rate history has been for the last 20 years. They can see what all the property values were for prior years. I'm pretty sure this tax levy certification is up there, the very top one maybe.
oh yeah,
Oh, and that one too. Yep.
in each municipality it shows.
So you can see,
I mean, 10 years ago we're at 481 million. Now we're at 1.23 billion. Just 10 years of. That was obviously after you could see the housing crash of 2010 is where it kind of ended, the last negative number. I'm sorry, actually through 11-12. No, 12-13. Then it started going up again, and you can see we've had increases 17 to 16%.
Yeah, because property values went down. Oh, I remember that. Like they got reassessed a bit less and
People were underwater.
Yeah.
Yep.
yeah,
yeah, I don't know. I just think you just share that and people can, if they have a question, they should be able to almost find it or whatever. Or at least they'll have an educated question because they'll have a bunch of information. So.
right. I do feel like since we've been posting that information out yearly, we have received less questions from the taxpayers. So I think they are seeing that and reading through it and maybe hopefully understanding a little bit better about how the process works. And
Definitely a good one to share though.
Yeah. Otherwise, it looks like you're trying to hide something.
But basically, we'll put up it on social media or refer them to that page. And lastly, just want to recognize Mark and Johnson. For 50 years, they've had the tradition of putting a star on their construction sites. Goes right back to one of the original last name Market. But they asked a month ago, would that be okay? I said, absolutely. Well, it's been a huge hit. So much so we asked, like, can we keep that? So they're donating that one, and I haven't hit them up yet. Because I was like, well, we want one at the elementary in the middle too. So
They're building a wonderful wood workshop. It can be the first kickoff project out of there.
and then it's an engineering marvel to secure it to the top of a building too. Every building's different, but it's been a huge hit. Got a thank you card recognizing that. And then Pete, I want to give Pete props to Bobolink Nursery. It kind of started with them donating some plants for graduation last year. Then you saw the beautiful plants around. We kept them all summer, various buildings, and now they're doing giant, quote unquote porch pots. So it was Pete and Bobolink Nursery. Got to give them credit for that too. To just spread the holiday cheer. It's been really, really good for culture. Yeah, been a good thing. So.
Great. So the last thing is important upcoming dates. We have January 17th through 19th, the WASB State Convention in Milwaukee. Kelly, do you have anything for us, or do you need to?
I still, hold on, let me see who I have.
I don't think I'll be able to make it. I was one of them, I'm sure.
For sure. You are?
Yeah, I'll do it.
No, I'm fine.
You're not going too late.
All right, so do you have everybody attending?
I have Jeff, Lance, Josh, Erica, and Tim that are yeses. Derek
that
and
right?
Vince were the only ones I haven't heard from yet, so you can.
Right,
all-
What time do you get back on Friday?
Morning.
We
Morning.
usually leave, yeah, by 9 o'clock-ish, and so we'd be back by 1:30.
We could drive separately and
Or you
also
could
leave at like.
Duck out at 6 a.m.
I have a snowmobile trip that starts that day with a couple of guys at my cabin, some customers.
How far is Kevin?
Turtle Lake.
We'll take Tim's jet.
What should did that mean?
That's what I heard.
When do you have to know by?
I'd like to do the registration tomorrow. The early bird discount ends Friday.
Okay.
So
I
I'll
would,
talk to
tomorrow
my
or
daughter.
Friday.
so we leave there at 9 or 10. We're not gonna get
Home
back
by
here
noon.
until 2
3.
or 3.
It's Madison, isn't it?
No, it's Milwaukee.
Oh, so it's 4 hours?
Yeah.
Home by 1?
Well, if Josh drives.
Wow.
3.
5.
I was sitting here
10
quiet.
p.m.
Pretty slow.
He's cautious. I miss him. Calling him home.
They make speed that's the
Basketball.
limit.
Exactly.
All right, January 24th is the next school board meeting here at the district office at 7, and then February 21st is the school board meeting at 7 here at the district office.
We'll move to adjourn this meeting. Second.
I know. Lance made the motion, Dave seconds, all in favor?
Aye.
The motion adjourned, or meeting adjourned at what, 7:57?
And we started.
Good job.
Bye, Jeff.
Awesome.